Every little girl grows up dreaming about her happy ever after, but most of us don't have fairy tale scriptwriters making sure we get it. That's where the Happy Ever After show comes in. If you have been waiting for a fairy godmother to wave her magic wand and release your frustrations, create the prosperity you want, and live a life you love, then listen closely. It's time to learn how to make your own wishes come true with your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the Happy Ever After show, where we are talking about Manifest 10,000, which is my book that it will be in bookstores May 16th. I am super excited about it. And I know that you're listening because, to this episode particularly, because you want to welcome more money into your life without struggle so that you can build your business quicker and easier. And today is part 2, which I love this topic because I love teaching people. I love teaching people to be their own advocate, their own best coach, their own, just empowering them to do this work on their own. And by teaching you where things often get off track and the reasons why money doesn't manifest quickly and easily, which this is the second part of. So if you missed the first episode, part 1 of this, make sure to go back and listen in the archives. And speaking of archives, I would love if you left a review and, make sure to subscribe on iTunes, but also leave a review. So just a little request to put in there. But today we're talking about why money doesn't manifest quickly and easily, right? And this is part 2, because there's about 10 reasons that over the course of running Manifest 10K, which used to be Manifest 10,000, that I saw come up over and over again. And I see my clients, even that work with me beyond Manifest 10K, those that take the workshop with me, the things that go on in their life that are keeping them from manifesting before we work together fall into these categories, right? And I realized I did them, as too, I did the same things, right? I tried to force it. I tried to do all this. And so I want to make it known. I want to help you see these things so that you can become aware, because when you become aware, you can shift your focus, because the focus on any of these things is the focus on it's not working, right? When you're doing these things, your focus and attention is in the place where you don't want it, because unless you want more of what you're focusing on and what you're, you have your attention on, you don't want your focus there. And when it's on these things, it's not on more money, attracting more money, like being the person who has more money. So I'm excited to talk to you about this. Because I like empowering people to be able to see this on your own, because when you can see this in a moment and when you start getting used to seeing it and you can stop it and shift that focus, oh man, magic happens. So I like to share this part of my work, and I like to share what I've seen. Again, you're not alone. And if you struggle with any of these, you're not alone. So, just real quick, I always am so grateful that I figured this stuff out, that I studied it, that I figured it out, that I kept implementing. And I think that's the key that's been coming up for me a while, is I kept implementing it. I kept stepping forward. I kept, figuring out what was working and doing more of that, which naturally leads to doing less of what's not working. Right? You don't have to focus on what's not working. We'll talk a little bit about that today, because that's going to come up. You don't have to focus on what's not working. If you shift and you focus on what is working, more of what's working comes up. You put more of your focus on that, and naturally the things that aren't working fade away. Right? You don't have to do a lot of work on that. So I hope you understand that. And I'm just thinking this week, I'm just so grateful. I'm in Texas, celebrating my niece's birthday week. I get to be with her. I have a thing. I don't really like to go without physically seeing her more than 60 days. So sometimes, go a little longer if I know I'm going to see her. But, one of my intentions last year and carrying into this year is really that I get to see her and spend time with her, because this is why I wanted freedom. It's why I wanted to build my business, so that I could be present and just be there for the people that I love, and to watch her grow, because they grow up so fast. So I'm excited to get to celebrate her 3rd birthday with her and just be with her and maybe take her to the movies, do some stuff. And I'm just grateful that I kept implementing and I kept stepping forward, because I now have a business that I can run from anywhere. I can take off, I can still work, and then I can hang out with her and just have a blast and a ball. So love that. If you love this season of the podcast, I would love if you go to manifest10000book.com and grab yourself a pre-ordered copy of the book, which will come out sometime before May 16th. I've heard they start shipping about a month early on pre-orders. So if you go there, you're going to see a link. You can buy it from your favorite place, whether it's Books A Million or Amazon or Powell's, anywhere you want. And order your copy now. Come back, put that receipt number in the form on the page at manifest10000book.com, and I will send you a complimentary copy. So signed and signed and prayed on with intentions and all that, loved up on. It's a copy that has a lot of my energy and infused in it, and my intentions for you to manifest more than $10,000. So if you love this podcast, I would appreciate your support in the book. Just go to manifest10000book.com. Again, pre-order, fill out the form, and I will send you a complimentary copy, which you can keep this copy, or you can give it away because one's coming in a couple months, or you can use your copy now to mark up and make notes on and highlight and keep you on track to manifesting $10,000. And then you can give away the one that comes in May. Or if for some reason you want 2 copies, keep 2 copies. It's all up to you because it's your life. I just appreciate all of the support. Speaking of, thank you, Patrice, Cynthia, Jean, Mara, and Helene for your pre-orders. I appreciate you so much. And I just appreciate you being here. I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about this. I love the book. I love, getting pre-orders. It's so fun. And I thought there was one more thing I wanted to talk about today. Oh, I know what it is. So if you get the book Manifest 10,000 and you manifest $10,000 or even close, if you manifest money, I want to hear about it, right? Share it with me because I love it. And sometimes people just, I don't know, they just don't think to share. So find me on Facebook, send me a message, send me an email. But I want to hear your stories. So a lot of times if you're in Manifest 10K, I hear your story or I see it. And because I love that you share it there. But if you just using the book, people are manifesting tons of money just reading the book, tons of money. And I want to hear those stories because I love them. And I just love to celebrate with you. And I love to be excited with you. And I love it. I mean, that's why I wrote the book, right? To help people. So just let me know how it's helping you and how it's shifting and changing your life and how it's helping you welcome abundance into it easily. All right. I think that's all I have before we jump into today's topic, which again, I love. And the reason why, I said this on the last episode, and I'll say it again, the reason why I'm talking about the reasons why money doesn't manifest quickly and easily is so that you can become aware of this. If you listen to my other podcast, Manifest It Now with Jenny, we talk about this awareness a lot. Like when you can become aware that you're doing something or you're putting your focus or attention on something that you don't want more of, you can stop it, right? Which you can't do if you're not aware. You can't stop doing something if you're not aware of it, right? And then when you stop it, you can put your focus and attention back on what you want. And that's the key to all of this, really, is where your focus and attention goes, right? That's what you get more of. And so I'm highlighting these things for you so that you can catch them and redirect that attention and focus and get it back on what you want more of, because I want you to manifest more than $10,000, right? All right, so let's talk about the first reason why people don't manifest more money into their life. The first reason we're going to talk about today, this is actually the 6th. I talked about the first 5 in the last episode. So this is technically number 6, but it's number 1 on my list today. And it connects to the one that I talked about, last time, which is working the list, putting more things on. But it's a little bit different, and it's really doing more, right? The reason you want to do anything in terms of manifesting, any things that you're doing, any things that are on your manifesting list, any techniques you're doing, any of that, you really don't want to be doing those to do them, right? You want to be doing them to be stepping into the beingness, being the person who manifests money quickly and easily, being the person who has $10,000 more in their bank account and is welcoming more, being the person who always has clients. You want to do everything that you do is really about stepping into that beingness. Now, in Manifest 10K, and even I talk about this in Manifest 10,000, I break it up into some steps and some things to do, but they're all geared, everything on that list is geared back to, they're all geared to move you forward into the beingness of the person who has $10,000 more in their bank account, right? Everything that I teach, really, that's the intention. It's all tied to that. And so I just want to highlight that because that's what's important, right? It's not just a list of things that you're doing. It's the things that you're doing to become more of the person, of what I call your future self, the person who has that money that you want, person who has $10,000 in their bank account, the person who no longer is peaceful and calm about money and paying their bills because there's always enough, right? Everything you want to be quote unquote doing, right? I have air quotes, doing is really about the being. So if you're just doing something because somebody said to do it, or I talked about the list last time, you're just adding to the list because you think it'll help you manifest quicker, it's likely not going to, right? Because it's those things that are stepping you into the beingness that are going to be quicker. And so often, people they think if I do more, I'll get more. And it's so, I've proven time and time again that you can do less with intention and you'll create more, right? It's all about intention. It's all about that beingness. It's not about the amount of stuff that you're doing that you think you should do, right? And so you get to breathe a sigh of relief because you don't have to just do all of these things, right? I'm going to give you a list of things, but really, and there's things in my book, but it's actually a lot less. There's a lot of manifesting techniques. There's a lot of things that we do, but it's all about becoming aware and stepping into that beingness of your future self who welcomes money in every day. And so you can breathe a sigh of relief. Like you don't have to just spend 24/7 on your manifesting. You have to spend 24/7 focused on being the person who has that money. And we'll talk more about that later. But yeah, the goal with every single manifesting tool that you are using should be to bring you closer in sync with the version of yourself that has what you desire and is living that life accordingly. Right? You have to be the person who has that. And I like to highlight this because it's important. You can't do 10 money manifesting techniques, whether they're mine or someone else's. And, it's not about that half hour you spend on doing those. You can't just do more and then walk out into your life and spend the other 23 and a half hours being somebody who's constantly focused and worried about not having enough money. Like that's going to take over. You get what you focus on, you get what you're being. And so if you're not being or stepping into the person, who has more money, is more relaxed about money, the majority of the day, it doesn't matter what 10 techniques you do, right? And again, all the techniques that I teach really are to activate that beingness of that person, right? And part of that means not doing more. It means making the choice to do things like appreciate what's in front of you, right? Rather than lamenting about what you don't have. Because again, it's not that hour that you spend, it's about the 23 other hours, and it's what you do and who you're being that matters. And it takes practice, but it's totally possible. And, I'm going to teach you in the following podcast. If you have the book, you can join Manifest 10K at manifest10k.com and get to know really the hows. But I really want you to understand it really is not about doing more. It's about being more of the person who has what you want, who has that desire. And in this case, we're talking about more than $10,000. Right? Who has, $10,000 more in their bank account than they did before, 90 days before. So that's, the first thing I want to talk about today and really, really highlight how important it is. It's about the being, not the doing. So the next reason up on today's list to become aware of why money doesn't manifest quickly and easily is not being clear about what's wanted. Oh my goodness, so often I see this, and I learned how I was really good at this, how I got really good at this, but I didn't realize I was ever bad at it, but I was. And, as I saw people go through the course, and I would see this over and over again, people really not getting clear about what it is, right? So, you have to be clear about what you actually want, right? So everybody's like, I want to manifest money. Cool. Right? If that were true and somebody walked up and handed you $100, you know, would you be happy? Like, is that what you meant? And most people are like, oh no, I wanted more than that, right? But you weren't clear about that. I meant I wanted $10,000. Like, so often people just ask for the money and it's too broad, right? And then often, like, money shows up. Maybe it's just a quarter on the street and you don't appreciate it, but you manifested money. You just can give yourself credit, right? The reason it's not working is because you weren't clear. And the reason I chose manifest 10,000 instead of manifest, it used to be money, right? The focus was on money. And I always asked people to choose an amount of money. And what I found after watching the Money, Money, Money course for just about a year and a half, I think it was, before I changed it, when I watched all those hundreds of people go through that course, I noticed that, some people would come in and it's like millions of dollars, right? And I noticed those people were never really successful because it was too big for their brain to comprehend. And this is a 90-day course. Like, this is a 90-day sprint. It's a 90-day, I don't even know if you'd call it a sprint, but it's a 90-day, just take a step forward every day, right? So sprint is probably not the right term. It's just 90 days to keep moving forward and keep doing that. And for most people's brains to comprehend, millions of dollars showing up in 90 days is just too much for your brain to comprehend, because you can't get clear on it, especially if you've never had millions of dollars. Now, if you're somebody who, has had millions of dollars, really is familiar what millions of dollars looks and feels like in terms of your life, what it allowed you to invest in, all of those things, then yeah, 90 days, you could totally set that. But for somebody who that experience really isn't anywhere in their current reality, it's just too big for your brain, and it's just too big to handle, right? So the reason that I picked, and what I noticed is people who, I noticed a couple things. Number one, often people think it's millions of dollars that they need to change their life. So often the range is about $10,000 to $50,000. And I studied this for a while. I watched people and I asked questions, and at one point I started really having people, instead of just saying, how much money do you want and what's it going to go for? Like, I had them add up what the money was going to go for, right? And very often it was between 10 and 25,000, but the range is kind of 50,000. Like, $10,000 to $50,000 shifts your life dramatically. But so often we think it has to be this big number. But when you really look at it, if someone wrote you a $10,000 check today, your life would dramatically change depending on the choices that you made with that money. And it can really, set you up for a different financial situation, right? And, that's $800 more a month for a year. Just, I don't know why I'm sharing that, but that's, it could pay something off that, saves you $200 a month. It's $800 a month extra for a year, which is a lot, right? That pays for a lot of things. Like, $10,000 really does dramatically change your life. And so that's why this is 10,000, because it changes your life. Your mind can comprehend it. It's not too big. And it's a focal point that we can, that we as a group, when it was Manifest 10K, could focus on, right? So, and it's easier to get clarity in $10,000 and really learn this. So I know a lot of people will come at, they're like, $10,000 isn't enough, I want $100,000. And I'm always like, cool, awesome. Do 90 days at 10,000, learn the steps, practice the steps, and then go for 100,000. But practice it at the $10,000, right? Because it's easier to get clear, right? And so when you can get clear about what you want, it's so much easier to manifest for two reasons. Number one, your brain is like, okay, cool, that's what we're going to do with the money. Your brain's not questioning, what are we going to do with that? Why do we need that money? What's going to happen? What's going to change? All this stuff, because it knows, right? The second reason is you can see the list. Like you can visualize, okay, like I'm going to go on a beach vacation. I'm going to take someone out to dinner. I'm going to get a massage once a week. Whatever it is, you can visualize that, and it's a little more fun than just visualizing $10,000 in your hand for most people, right? Because for most, like the truth really is like you don't really want, it's not the $10,000 in your hand you want. It's whatever you can exchange that $10,000 for that you want, right? Most people don't just, right. They're not just getting $10,000 to get $10,000. There is a reason for it, right? And so that clarity is so important because it drives everything else. When you start out crystal clear, it makes everything you do in terms of manifesting greater. And here's the bonus of getting really clear is that the universe can deliver without actually delivering the money, which if you listened a couple shows ago, I talked about my Manifest 10K list and the couch, right? The universe delivered way better than I could have ever even imagined with that purple couch. I love that couch. Everybody walks into my place, loves that couch. I don't even know where to buy that couch, right? But I was going to buy a couch with my $10,000 because I had just moved. So that was something I was going to do, was upgrade my couch. And the perfect couches showed up. The universe didn't have to give me the money. I didn't have to go shopping, which honestly is way better for me because I don't love shopping. I really love when things that I want just show up in my life. That's the best thing ever for me. Some people like to go shopping and that's cool. But for me, when it just shows up in my life and I don't have to go to a store, I don't have to walk around a store, I don't have to do all that, way better. It's way more fun for me. So, the universe can deliver without having to put the money in your hands. You can just deliver what you want when you're clear about it, right? And that's awesome because it just makes it easier so often, right? So that not being clear about what you want is absolutely something that will keep you from manifesting. And that happens a lot. And when I work with clients and I'm like, keep asking like, okay, right. What do you want? What do you want? They think they're clear and they're often not clear. And once we get clear, they realize like, oh, no wonder why that wasn't happening, right? So the next thing is lack of focus. And being clear can really, being clear can help you avoid this, right? Because what you focus on matters, especially when it comes to money. And the biggest mistake I see people make is that they're trying to manifest being out of debt. And we're going to talk about beliefs about debt next, right? But so often it's like, I want to manifest being out of debt. That's not clear, right? That's like, and really the focus is on debt, right? And when you focus on something, you get more of it. When you've probably known someone, or maybe you've experienced it yourself, and their sole focus was to get out of debt, get out of debt, get out of debt. And they got out of debt, and 2 weeks or 2 months later, something happened that put them right back in debt. It's because that's the experience they know. It's the experience they were focused on. For so long, they put all that energy and it just happens, right? You have to put your energy on what you want. And while, you think you want to be out of debt, what do you really want? Do you want to be out of debt because you want to feel more peaceful? Then just go feel more peaceful. Do you want out of debt because you want that $200 or $500 or $600 payment a month to go to something else? Cool. Now we're starting. That's clear. That's clarity. Where is that money going to go? What do you want? Right? Is that your vacation fund? And you're like, okay, cool. Then the focus is a vacation. Is that, investment in your business? Awesome. You know that, right? I have money to invest in my business every month, but you want to get clear. Is it for a massage? When that debt's paid off, I'm going to spend that $100 that I was paying to that on a massage. Get clear about what it is you want, right? And understand, because that clarity is what also leads to the feelings. Like being clear leads to your abundance feelings, which is, a topic up for another day, or if you have the book, you know what I'm talking about. But really that focus on debt, you got to be focused on what you want more of. And if it's not debt, take the focus off of debt and figure out what being out of debt is going to get you and get clear on that. When you master the ability to define and focus on what you really want, manifesting becomes so much easier, right? You get to a point where all you have to do is make a decision and laser focus on what you actually desire. And then it shows up so quick and so easy. because it's clear, right? And think about this in terms of like when you go to a restaurant, like you don't, if you just tell them, well, just bring me something to eat, right? So the waiter goes back and brings you something. You're like, oh, I didn't want salad tonight, right? They bring you back salmon. Oh, I didn't want fish, right? But if the reason why there's a menu and you order exactly what you want is so you get what you want. It's the same thing with manifesting. So the next thing that I see that keeps people, from really manifesting money quickly and easily is their beliefs about debt, right? So often it's really this belief that debt is holding you back. Like underneath everything, there's a belief that like I can't move forward until I pay off my debt, which means I can't move forward. So I got to pay this off, right? I have to put the focus on that. And that's just a thought. It's just a belief, right? And it's not what's holding. You can absolutely manifest more money into your life, even if there's debt, right? And I've been through this. I used to obsess over the payments, about how much it was. And when I really realized what I was doing, I set up automatic payments. It became automatic. I did a snowball thing to really, to speed it up, but I didn't think about it. I just did it. It was like, cool. Okay. When this is paid off, the next thing. And it took the energy out of it. And the truth is like, I kept manifesting money, even though there was debt, right? And it went down and I got more money. And it's, and this is one of the things that I like to highlight about people with manifesting money. Oftentimes in the early stages of manifesting, it's easier to manifest a monthly payment than it is the whole amount, right? So even if your focus is just like, I just want to be relaxed, I don't want to be worried about that $200 payment, awesome. You manifest $10,000 and that's 200, my math is not, let's say it's 250, like that's more than 3 years worth of payments if it was $250 right there in $10,000. So, and you might go, oh, but it's still there. Yeah, but like once you learn to manifest $10,000, you can manifest more, right? But it's really that underlying belief that you want to look at because so many people, it's like just, I can't move forward until I take care of this, right? And then the last thing that really stops money for people from manifesting money quickly and easily is not noticing the evidence, right? They don't, if you're not looking for the evidence and collecting evidence that your money vibe is shifting, you just get stuck on looking for $10,000 to show up. So you miss the little amounts that are adding up to 10,000. And the fact that magic and momentum is happening all around you and you're moving in the direction you desire, it feels like it's not working. So paying attention to the evidence and what's showing up for you in terms of just even being aware of a $10,000 money sign, right? That's evidence when you're more aware of that. It's like, oh, okay, my focus is shifting because everything is already here. You just can't see it, right? But when you shift your focus, everything shifts. When you shift who you are, your experience shifts. So when you become the person who's noticing everything, you're noticing everything about how it's working. And that evidence, when you pay attention and put energy and focus onto what's going right, things go right more often. You get more of what you want quicker and easier. But this really requires that you start noticing all the ways, no matter how big or how small. It often starts with noticing the small things. And that really, because if you're noticing those, that puts your focus on the fact that it's working, which doesn't allow any space in your mind for it's not working, right? So the way that, you don't focus on it's not working is you focus on the fact that it's working. So that's what I have for you for why money doesn't manifest quickly and easily. Now that you know those, you can become aware. If you want the list, of course, go to manifest10000book.com and pre-order the copy so that you can refer to it. And you can say like, hey, I think I'm doing something. And you can look it up. Like, hey, I think I'm not focusing on what I want. Let me see. And you can go, right to the chapter and you can check it out. It's chapter 4 in the book. Okay. Just want to share with you a listener story. Somebody got the book a little while ago and they they let me know. They said, oh, like I knew all those things you were talking about. I've totally done those. And that's what stopped me in the past. And now that I know them, I can see when I did them. And now that I know, I can stop doing it. Right? And that's what it's all about, is creating that awareness so that you can focus more on what you do want, which in this case is more than $10,000. I'm starting to say more than $10,000 because I want you to manifest a little bit more, like, right? Little bonus stuff. So, thank you for being here today. I'm going to leave you with this mantra: I love money. So your mantra this week, practice it as you like. I love money. Have a fantastic week, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for joining us on the Happy Ever After show, where you don't need a genie lamp to get your wishes granted. Now that you're inspired and ready to take action, get yourself on the path to your happy ever after by scheduling a complimentary strategy session at createmyhappyeverafter.com.